Hey everyone, I wanted to talk to you this week a little bit about what you do when you first join Weight Watchers. So you just join Weight Watchers and you're like, what do I do this first week, this first day? Can I eat anything? What do I do? These were some of the concerns that I had when I first joined Weight Watchers. I know the day that I joined, I was like, I can't eat anything. The habits that I've been having are what made me gain all this weight, and how in the world am I going to do this healthy thing and lose all this weight? Probably can't eat anything that I normally cook or make or eat or snack on or whatever, so I'm just gonna starve. The first piece of advice that I got that was wonderful was somebody told me, go eat a banana, because bananas are 0 points along with every single fruit and most vegetables. And so if you have fruit in your house, you can eat, and you can eat pretty much however much you want until you are full and not worry about the points on it. Because especially if you have come from eating everything else, anything else, all the junk and everything, fruit and veggies are going to be amazing and wonderful for you. The other biggie for me was figuring out the whole point system, because you have daily points that you can use every single day, and you're supposed to use all your daily points each day, and then you have these things called weekly points, which is like 49 extra points to use anytime during the week. You can use them all at once, you can space them out, you can do whatever you want with them. I got two conflicting pieces of advice with the weekly points, and one of them said, use your weekly points, they're there for you to use them. The other piece of advice that I got was, don't use them. You have these weekly points, but if you want to lose this weight quick and fast, don't use them. And the route that I took was, don't use them, which actually worked out really well, because after you eat about, I think, your 4 servings of fruit and veggies that you have a day, you're supposed to count each serving after that as a point. And for me, with not touching my weekly points at all, I didn't worry about my fruits and veggies that I ate. I ate as many as I wanted, and I didn't count the points or anything, but I also didn't touch my weekly points. So if you think about it, I kind of used my weekly points on just fruits and veggies. In the beginning, though, those weekly points were great for figuring out how many points each different food is, because it takes some time to figure out like what points each different type of food is, whatever. And it was very helpful at the end of the day to be able to use like a point or two while I was figuring out like how many points can I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And like at the end of the day, maybe I've gone over by a point or two, just trying to figure out like, well, what can I eat for this many points, and needed like an extra point to be able to eat that food or whatever. And it was very helpful to be able to have those weekly points in the beginning to figure out my point system. And with not using any of my weekly points, I actually lost 30 pounds in the first 3 months. But I went from not moving, not working out, not doing anything physical, and eating anything and everything that I wanted, to following Weight Watchers strictly, and not using my weekly points, eating very healthy, and also working out 7 days a week. And with losing those 30 pounds, that was actually my goal that I had set up when I first joined Weight Watchers, was to lose those 30 pounds, which I didn't think was going to be like possible. And after that, I was supposed to do maintenance mode, but I was kind of nervous because I had never had a weight gain within those 3 months. And I just continued with my healthy lifestyle. I had a 10K that I was training for, and I just kept on going, and I lost another 18 pounds with that. So a total of 48 pounds that I lost while I was doing Weight Watchers. Totally wasn't on purpose, but absolutely loved it. My body could do it, and I didn't realize that I had that much weight that my body could actually shed off. And I was in the most healthiest state my body has ever been in, and it was fabulous and totally worth it. It was hard work, but totally, completely worth it. Along with not using my weekly points, I also cut out all desserts, all treats, all sweets, whatever, in the beginning, because I knew that I just needed like not to use those points. Those were going to be very high point foods. But then after like a month or two, if we had a special birthday party to go to, or something, a wedding or something special that we were going to be attending, I would save my weekly points for that, and I would allow myself to use my weekly points for that. Or I would also try to cut back on my daily points and plan ahead of saying, okay, I know we're going to a friend's house. I'm not going to be able to calculate dinner completely, so I'm going to cut back on my breakfast and lunch, the meals that I can control, and maybe have a healthy 0-point smoothie for breakfast. I love going to Walmart and just buying a bag of frozen fruit, cut up fruit with no sugar added, and blend that up with some water in the blender and add some stevia for 0 points as well. And then you have a very filling breakfast that morning. You can also throw in some spinach or salad greens in there to add a little more filler in there as well. And then for lunch, plan a nice healthy salad, a big healthy salad with lots of veggies and everything, and make that a low point. Maybe add some chicken to it, something low in points. And then for dinner, when you go over to your friend's house, you eat until you're satisfied. You make sure you watch what you're eating, probably not choose all the breads and everything that they might have, but make sure you're eating lots of veggies that they have, and just watch and be careful with it. Another thing that really worried me when I started Weight Watchers was that I wasn't going to be able to cook anything that I normally cooked, that I was going to have to change my whole entire recipe book and start cooking these recipes that I didn't even know what half the ingredients were. And what I ended up finding was that I could actually make what I normally made. I sometimes had to fix some of my ingredients and swap them out for something healthier, but I could normally just eat what I regularly did. The deal was I had to cut down my portion size, and controlling your portions is huge, and I learned a lot from that with Weight Watchers of actually measuring my foods and seeing how much I was eating, how much you're supposed to eat. And to be honest, I was hungry for that first week of Weight Watchers, but you know what? Your stomach's more than likely going to have to shrink anyway, so you're going to be hungry no matter what you do, cutting back on some of your foods. But then add in the vegetables and the fruit for filler. And I probably ate at least 2 bananas a day whenever starting out with Weight Watchers, and still probably eat about 2 bananas a day. Definitely 1 banana a day, because it's just a good healthy filler to fill you up, and it's delicious. Another great tip with the online tools that they have, with the e-tools that you can use, is go in there and play around with your food. Because if you just use a calculator on a food and look at the package and try to figure out the points, it'll give you pretty accurate. But if you can go onto e-tools, you can fill that in, and you can maybe play around with well, if I have 1 serving and a 1/4 serving, you might get the same amount of points for that. And so you can get a little bit more food for the same amount of points. And so I always would play around with that and figure out how much can I eat before I go up to the next point, and just play around and eat as much as you can for the points that you're wanting to eat. So these are just some of the things that I wrestled with when I first started Weight Watchers. If you have any other questions, please comment below and I'll do my best to answer those as well. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you can get more health tips and mommy tips from me, and I'll see you next week. Bye.